Hey everyone, it is Sunday, May 17th, and this is going to be a reading for us for the week of May 17th to the 23rd. So I hope you're all doing well. I am actually just finishing, today I'm just relaxing after a 2-day kind of spiritual conference, I guess you could say, where many people were doing some speaking today and yesterday. So very full days, but really enjoyable. It's always good to kind of, recharge your batteries and listen to other people to, obtain some inspiration. It wasn't tarot related. It was actually just, various spiritual speakers for the entire weekend. So it was kind of like they call it kind of a retreat weekend. But anyway, so that's what I've been doing. So I thought before I kind of get settled in for some further relaxation tonight, I will do a reading for you for this week. I am going to actually move the cards over just to cut them. So I think what we're going to do is just ask, the universe to give us, we're going to pull 2 cards for this week to just get more information on what might be happening for this week for us. So I'm just going to actually pull those cards. So just one moment, please. Okay, so those are the 2 cards that I pulled. So we've got the 10 of Swords and the 9 of Wands. Okay. Wow. So this is obviously, if you've experienced tarot at all, or if you know anything about tarot cards, right away we can see that this is the energy for the week is actually going to be fairly heavy. So this is what I would say. I had pulled the 10 of Swords first, but I think actually they can be almost looked at in conjunction with one another. I think that you can look at it like you're going through a lot and then you're reaching the end, or you could actually consider that what I would almost feel, or what I feel from these cards, is that it's showing that there's actually more than one thing going on at one time. And the reason I say that is because we've got 2 different suits, first of all. I did pull the 10 first, and then we've got the 9. So it almost shows that what we've got here is something that has really had to come to an end, or feels like it's come to an end, and that we've got so much going on that we actually have something else that we're needing to work very diligently at and put a lot more, kind of effort into to get to the end of something else as well. So let's talk about it in more detail. The 10 of Swords. So we've got swords, which, as we all know, are related to the realm of air, astrologically, or just relating to the element itself as air. And the element of air relates to things that are about communication, about your mental workings, about the things that you believe and the perceptions that you have, what you walk through life with in terms of how your mind is almost perceiving things, which can obviously say something about how we see something and how we manifest it. But it can be about your perceptions, your beliefs. It can be about what you find to be truth. As I say, it can be about communication of any kind. It can also, swords are known to sort of house the area of, for lack of better words, house the area of conflicts, or any kind of, sometimes confrontation and that sort of thing. So swords can be, well, they're a double-edged sword, right? Our mind is our greatest gift, and it can be our, heaviest sort of cross to bear. So our crown and our cross is what someone I used to know would call it. So you just have to realize that what is going on in terms of our mental workings can sometimes really cause us a lot of anxiety and stress and difficulty. And we often find that we reach a point where something is so difficult and so painful that it's not just a 3 of Swords, it's a 10 of Swords. And a 10 of Swords says something needs to end here. Something needs to end in order for me to be reborn in a sense, to be rejuvenated into something different, into maybe a new perception, letting go of things that are simply not working in your life. It can also be that the universe, maybe was whispering to you and you weren't listening necessarily, and so now you've ended up with, a more difficult situation on your hands where something is at its end, and maybe you didn't choose it, but, something has come to an end, and that is very, very difficult. So this week, just, pay attention to, if it's something not obvious, just pay attention within you of what areas of your mind, your thinking, your perception, what you're carrying around, how you're seeing things, what perhaps is not serving you anymore, and what you found has come to an end perhaps, or things are happening that something does come to an end, and it may end up sort of changing our perspective. So that can be the Ten of Swords. It can certainly represent difficulty and ruin. They often sort of use the word ruin and that kind of thing, and it can. But I have experienced the Ten of Swords to be, the best way I can describe it is that it is something that is painful and difficult to the point where it is far more than the Three of Swords. And something needs to change or end or be rejuvenated, because you simply can't move on with that particular way of doing things or perceiving things. And then we've got the Nine of Wands, and we've got, as I say, two different suits, and I would honestly consider this to be almost like, I don't even know how to explain it other than to say that there is more than one thing potentially going on here. There's more than one trial potentially. And wands are often related to our physical health and vitality and well-being. And it can also be related to just your passion and your energy and what really sort of feels like it's burning within you that you want to do. That fire is, often kind of fire in our belly to get something done and to drive towards something. And it is, and it can be related to creativity, that drive of creativity and passion, and even sort of business and projects and that kind of thing. And with seeing the Nine of Wands there after the Ten of Swords, it reminds me that there is more than one heavy thing going on this week potentially. And so we have to take a look at, okay, so we've had to let go of something. We've had to recognize that something was not, able to continue on because it was not serving us anymore, whether by choice or not by choice. And the Nine of Wands comes along and says, yes, and you've also got something else going on here, and you've got another sort of fire burning, and we've got something else we need to deal with. And you were at the 9, and you were one step away from the 10, which is closure. So potentially two things are going to be close to, one for sure at a closure point or an ending point, and one potentially closer, than we think, sort of thing. So the Nine of Wands is saying you've got a little bit farther to go. You need to go within. It is ruled by the moon astrologically. You need to go within and determine what you need to do in order to get yourself to the end. Usually you've experienced some kind of, battle wounds and scars and some difficulties and trials by the time you get to the 9. And in order to get through to the 10, to see that completion, you have to really go within and figure out what you need to do internally to finalize that path and get to the end. Certainly it shows that you've worked very hard and some things have been very difficult along the way. So that's what the 9 will show us. But it also reminds me very much, relates back to the Hermit, in terms of the major arcana. And so the Hermit always has to kind of go within and determine what I need to do, how I need to grow, how I need to expand myself in order to get through to the end, in order to have spiritual growth. And that's what the Nine of Wands always reminds me of. And the 10 relates to the Wheel of Fortune in the major arcana, which again, change, and there's always ups and downs, and the difficult and the easy, and that sort of flux. So we've got a lot going on this week where we've got something that we may be looking at that is coming to an end, and then we've got something that we're looking at that we need to still dig in deep in order to get to the end of that as well. and bring something to fruition. So lots of flux and change and some stuff going on this week. And so very interesting cards. I have thoroughly enjoyed taking a look at these this week. And I hope that you found that helpful in terms of just card meanings and interpretation. So have a wonderful week, everyone, and take care of yourself, and God bless.